everybody, it's Lisa from lisathompsonlive.com, and I have a journal to share with you today. It is my journal that I just made in 2020, honoring my childhood. And yeah, so this was actually, and it is a I took the text block out of this book, which was actually my favorite book and was given to me as a gift, I think when I was about 8 or 9. And I just thought the cover image was just so beautiful. I always loved it as a child, and I had kept this book so long, but obviously there was no desire for me to like read it because it was very childish in comics. However, I did take some of the pages that were in the text block and included them in this journal, which is a junk journal, folded in style, and I hand sewed the binding, and then what was left of I just did some little buttons on the back here with some of the linen thread. And this is actually a locket that was given to me as a child. And I've also included just some, like little bits and bobs. This was actually from my charm bracelet as a child, and it is a cat, very cute. And also I got the ski poles. So just a couple of little things that were from my charm bracelet, which I still have intact. And I just took those couple of items from it. Yeah, so the idea with this was, I guess, to kind of just look back and, how you carry, as you move through life, you tend to have this box of childhood memorabilia, and you're not quite sure, what do you do with it. So the purpose of this book was to kind of incorporate all of those little bits of memorabilia and just kind of go down memory lane and have a keepsake. And, it's sort of therapeutic. I think it's just sort of a nice process to go through and look at the stages that you have gone through as a child, some of the highlights, and maybe some of the things that you weren't so happy with. So let's do a little flip through the original end pages in the book, which is so adorable. I believe this book was published in Australia, but my aunt had bought it for me, and I think it was from my cousins for a birthday, I believe. But yeah, I just loved it so much. I kept it all these years. You can kind of see, yeah. So, I mean, I begin with "Who am I?", which I think is funny. And then I just got a few little leftovers in here, a little pocket. And this again was from the original book. Here's a picture, a photograph of a photocopy, I should say, of a photograph. I have very few photographs of when I was a child, so the couple that I do have, I tried to include in here, and that is me right there, the little one. And that's when we lived in Edmonton. I think I was about 5 there, and my big brother, who we just hung out at that age. I was a real tomboy, and we did a lot of, touring around together and biking and stuff. So just more pages. Here's a little introduction to myself. I just kind of reminisced on, kind of what my personality was as a child from what I remember. One of the few photos I do have, a family friend liked to take pictures, and he took a picture of my cousin and me, and these were the pictures that he took, which are very cute. And again, where am I going to put these things, right? So, and here is an image, again, one of the few photos I have. And that was on our summer. Every summer we would go up to Osoyoos Lake in the interior of BC, British Columbia, Canada. And it's very desert-like and beautiful, and that's where I learned how to water ski. So I just kind of wrote in a circle here just some of my memories of those trips. And then just some decorative things here. Just my sports school I sewed these in with the sewing machine, just these participation badges. And if you're a Canadian child, you would remember what those were. And I note here that this was my only gold. I always got silver. This I found much later in life, I think as an adult, but it's just from matchbook.com, I think, and they don't exist anymore, but they had this wonderful little printable on 50 classic girl novels, and I've checked off the ones I read, and actually I'm still, there's still a few that I'm reading now, which is kind of fun. So I thought that was good I loved to read as a child, so. And just a picture of my cousin and I looked up to her a lot. We had a lot of fun together when we were kids. She's a bit older than me. And so I just kind of wrote a little bit, and I write sideways and around about some memories. And again, just more pages. And my school photos. I didn't have any of these. They've all gotten lost over the years. But my very good friend, who we started grade 2 together and went through school all our years together, she scanned them and sent them to me. So that was very thoughtful. I asked her if she'd mind doing that. Yeah, so you can see here just sort of a collection. Ballet, I did take ballet. I wrote about my ballet class. Again, this is just not something I'm going to read over. It's just writing some memories and thoughts, and I don't plan to reread it. So I just kind of did it's sort of like an art in itself. You write normally, and then you just keep going and write up, and you don't read it again. It's just softball memories. Softball is my favorite sport. I haven't done that yet. I need to write my memories, but that was one of my team photo pictures again. My same friend had scanned me the team picture, because again, I've lost, I had a whole box of childhood photos and stuff that went missing, so unfortunately. Roll of Honor. I think it was the only time I got one. I think I was 12 and it was for athletics, but we'll see. Again, from the book, just kind of a cool page. Television crossword. This is from an old TV guide from the years in the 70s when I was growing up. And I made a list of favorite TV shows and movies. I wrote about my 5th grade teacher here. I just loved him. He was wonderful. And some report cards. Also from the book, and I just wrote some journaling about going through adolescence with brothers. All these photos I tucked in here, these are all just the school pictures. A little story I wrote in grade 6. And I just kept the title page that I believe I drew a little picture. Anyway, again, what do you do with these things, right? So anyway, and then I wrote did a little journaling here about one of my brothers. This was one of those photos from the same photographer. I needed a haircut. And I guess, yeah, this was our old house where I grew up basically from grade 2. So I had a picture of that, and I thought that was perfect to save in here. And I think here I wrote about the house. So this is just journaling about the house. And in my room, I was as a child, I was really one of those kids who like to retreat to their bedroom. Kind of a big family, always lots going on, and I liked the quiet, so I just wrote a little bit here about what I like to do in my room: hide, dream, write, read, play. Just more photos, and a cute little page from the book. Elementary school memories, grade 2 to 7. This was thank you for supporting Terry's dream. This was a Marathon of Hope. It was, I think, a 10K that they did every year for the Terry Fox fundraiser. And my mom and I used to go on that, so that's a good memory. Here I've made a list of my favorite toys as a kid. Light Brights, stuffed animals, a wood burning set, doodle art, Clue, the game, Easy Bake Oven, Masterpiece, Battleship, roller skates with a key, crazy carpet, and styrofoam balls and pipe cleaners. Oh my gosh, I went through a phase of just loving the styrofoam balls and pipe cleaners, and all the girls in my class, we just did that. Made little like animals out of them and stuff. Favorite books, Pippi Longstocking, Anne Frank, Charlotte's Web. Again, that's, you can tell it's from the original book. This is actually a little journal from my 4th grade class, and I have some notes here from the teacher. I just took a page out of that. I thought that was pretty sweet. I didn't need to have a whole lot, but I found this at a thrift store. It's a pattern for little girls' nightgowns and house coats, and I swear, I kid you not, that I had this exact one. So I thought, well, it had to go in here as a little memory. It was definitely that pattern too. It's pretty funny. Oh, this is so cute. I got to share this with you guys. So this says Friends at the top, in case you can't read it on the screen. And what I did here is I took, so like for example, you know, the little school pictures from like high school, junior high school, and your friends would write you a little note on the back. Well, I love these, and I had kept them all these years, and I didn't want to, you know, you can't glue them because you'll lose the message on the back. So I just did this little vellum paper, and I hand sewed these little things on it. These are pieces, you can see, these are little pieces from the actual book with little comics and little drawings. And I just did the square and then sewed the vellum on top to make a little pocket. And this way I can like take it out and look at the little message on the back. This here is the friend that sent me the scans, and she has been my friend since grade 2. It's got a little note on the back, so cute. So I love how this turned out. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 little squares, and it's a double page spread. I don't know if I came up with this idea or if I saw it somewhere. I think I just kind of came up with it, and but I was definitely inspired by Joanne Clue. I believe she did a childhood book that had some sort of pockets for photos. But I did definitely need a solution because I didn't want to glue these, you know, I didn't want to do glue sticks. So now I can still read them. Yeah, I will leave in the comment box. I'll just leave the Joanna Clue's link. If you haven't ever seen her stuff, she makes some beautiful journals. And also Gina at the Rebookery does some childhood journals as well of her own childhood. This was my bib from the very first half marathon I did, and I entered it with my mother. And what I did here is the picture, so you can see, here's my mother, and here am I. And I thought it was a cute way. I had to sort of tear the picture, and I thought that was kind of cool way to do it. We actually ended up running separately. I don't know if I fell behind. It could very well be. And I ended up meeting a young girl. She was running by herself and needed a little inspiration, so we kind of ran together for a while. Yes, I grew up with a Siamese cat, so I had to add that, and I still have to write about him. Yes, this is all about, I just did some journaling about the Terry Fox runs, because my mom and I used to go in them every couple of years, and in high school we actually did them for gym class as well, and you donate money and do your little walk or run. Oh, sorry, frame break. Here I just did a little belly band with, this was a letter from my grandmother, and I think it was right before I graduated from high school, so nothing more precious than your grandmother's handwriting. And of course that was many, many years ago, and she's no longer of this world, but definitely one of my little spirit guides for sure. So grandma, and then I got these really cute pieces of paper I tore out of my childhood journal diary. which I'm going to talk a little bit about in another video, but these are, you know, from some of my friends. They wrote me little notes in my journal. So I thought that was really cute. To Lisa, my mom is looking for a camp for me, you, Allison, and Roseanne from A.L. Anderson. And that was my friend from grade 2 and on. And oh yes, her mom did find us a horse camp, but it was Christian, so we got quite a lesson there, and we had to let Jesus into our heart, etc. So that was quite the momentous camp. Oh yeah, I did a little spread here on the Tawasin Beach store. I mean, this was an iconic little store that as kids we would walk up there with our nickels and dimes and just treat ourselves to like sweet tarts and all the goodies. Basically from the time we moved there, I think, you know, probably grade 2 up to, gosh, probably before we started even into junior high school, we were still probably going to buy candy there. And the store is still there, but it doesn't look the same. It's actually a house now. But anyway, that was a real iconic part of our childhood, part of my childhood. Music, just some of my favorite songs growing up, like as a child, the Teddy Bear's Picnic, Puff the Magic Dragon, blah, blah, blah. And then you see how you go down further and it's Supertramp, the Cars, the Bee Gees. Well, as I became older, right? Oh, Jesus Christ Superstar, I love that album. Yeah, this was my favorite page in the whole book. So I had to like have that whole page as a whole piece. I didn't want to fold it, so I put it in like that. Some more report cards. I'm gonna have to get better at these flip-throughs. Ben's General Store, that was a little store that we also used to ride our bikes down to into the United States. We lived like 5 minutes from the States. And it was a real summer tradition that we would ride our bikes down there. And Reno's Stables, same thing. That's where the horses, all the girls with horses, we would go there after school and hop the boundary fence and go to the stable. Centennial Beach, another iconic spot growing up where, you know, you got to explore the beach, but then later you'd have bonfires with your friends and drink your first beers. There I am. It's a surly teenager. Pretty funny. And this is, I can go. Oh, what's going on? It's stuck on there. I just did a little envelope. I stuffed. This is a picture of my friends and I when we were at the beach celebrating New Year's with our champagne. It was probably some baby duck champagne. But that's, yeah, we were a little bit older then. I did a little section here on boys, but I haven't written anything yet. But that was about grade 8. And then I added my own list of books that were missing from the book list that I showed you already. More books a girl should read, I wrote. And I added some other good ones, I think, that are worthwhile. Yes, more of my sports awards and participation, blah, blah, blah. And I just wrote some little notes about sports and how much I loved them. And here we are again. Circles and triangles I put here because I feel like that was kind of the age where there was a lot of push and pull with, you know, boys, best friends, circles of friends. So that kind of to me just sort of symbolized the what can be stormy waters during, you know, high school and adolescence. I've got a piece of 10th grade sketchbook art, and then this is a little photo that, oh boy, this is a little friend that I met through my parents. So that's me on the right and her on the left, and you can see how it's one of those little photo booth things at the mall, and you can see how the photo is starting to deteriorate, but it's still pretty cute. I think this was the first time I met her. Might have been the year after, but we got into some things together. She was really fun. And I journaled here about her and I and the things we did and how much fun we had and the mischief that we caused. But yeah, she lived in Calgary and it was a business associate of my father's. So it was a friendship that was kind of brief, I guess, in the end. And plus, of course, we lived in different cities. but yeah, I'll always remember her. That was kind of the growing up. She was like the one that said, hey, you need to shave your legs. Everybody needs a friend like that, right? Here's a little card that I just thought was so cute. It reminded me of my very first friend that I met when I moved, just after grade 1. I moved to the little town I grew up in Tawasin. And this card just reminds me of the first friend I met. We had a lot of fun together. She was really sweet, but she moved away, I think, in junior high. So yeah, I just journaled here about her and I. And yeah, that's cool, good memory. And graduation. This was my grad date. And that's a picture of him and I in our backyard, my backyard. Yeah, and so I did a little journaling about that whole night, and boy, it was very cool because he and his friends rented a really nice antique, I think it was Rolls Royce or something really cool, and we drove up to Queen Elizabeth Park, and it was just a beautiful view, and had a little glass of champagne and stuff like that. So anyway, it was a nice evening. I didn't know him from school. We didn't hang out or anything. So when I saw his name, because they matched you up back in those days, no one, asked anyone. You just got matched through a system. And so when I saw his name, I was like, oh, I don't know who that is. He wasn't in any of my classes because he was really smart. And that's it, guys. So there's just this one last photo. I haven't sort of figured out where I'm going to put it, but it's kind of cute. It was, I think, the first time I ever went to tea, and it was in Victoria. And my boyfriend at the time, his older brother, treated us to a tea time in Victoria. And I think my boyfriend took this picture of me, and I'm actually with him now, and I've been with him about 18 years now. So yeah, it's kind of a cute picture. I've sort of been able to, he's given me some old photos that he had, and it's kind of fun. And that's it, guys. So the back is the exact same as the front. And again, the spine. And I am thinking about, like, I don't like how it just sort of, it just sort of puffs, it's kind of annoying. I mean, I could put a ribbon on it, but it's just bending the cover so much. I think eventually I'm going to get rid of this spine and do a fabric spine. And then these front and back pieces will have the freedom to just kind of grow with the book, or I think it would just look better and turn better. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And remember to always celebrate your journals and celebrate life. Thank you so much. If you are inspired to do a childhood journal, I highly recommend it. It's kind of fun. It's therapeutic. And there are other ways to go through therapeutic type journaling, which I can talk about a little more. This is probably a little more just a place, really a place to put those mementos that we keep in a box that move along with us in life. And what a better way to, I mean, I can't think of a better way to do this, because you can put it on your bookshelf and it looks pretty. And also you can pass it on to your children. They might be interested in it one day, or your grandchildren or something like that. So instead of having things get moldy in a box, this is a nice way to put it all together. And again, thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.